Hey everyone, Shadow SB here. We gotta talk about some stuff. Alright, so I just did Seeds of Redemption, cleared everything. So got some stuff from the, the clears. Got a new character. See that real quick before we cover anything else. Right here. We got 6. He's okay. He'll be pretty decent for what we're trying to do. And honestly, I can definitely see ourselves using him in the future. I mean, right now, he's got to get leveled up. Dark Grid still needs some work, but we're getting somewhere with this. Now then, completing everything in this Seeds of Redemption event also gives you two other things. Gives you this weapon. It's a Dark Fist weapon. There are 2 Dark Fist weapons that you get kind of at a similar timing. The other one being the one from Robomy's Sea. I don't remember which one's better, but they're both very similar. So pick one that you like and use that one. 2 hits, mirror image for the main character on its charge attack is pretty good. Okay, we also get this summon, which is, when it's limit broken, 70% boost to wind and dark attack. So we can use it as a main summon for our dark team for now. Our wind team is probably still going to stick with Tiamat, so we can get the classic Omega and elemental summon combo that you use in the early game. Right. Now, last thing that we get, because this is all the normal stuff, we get a choice. Alright, so there are these characters, and you see one of them is this guy that we just recruited, but it's not this version of him. We get an item that we can recruit one of these characters. So if we go back to home and we go to goal and we go to character map and we go to Eternals, which we were already on, you'll see there are characters that you can get by doing a thing, right? They're grindable characters that you get by essentially fully leveling up these Revenant weapons. The problem with that for this account is, it'd be great, by the way, if we could get Revenant weapons and get these characters. It'd be great. They're not their best anymore, but they would still be helpful. But if we look at this, click hint, you'll find out you can only get this from events. Two specific events: the Guild War Unite and Fight, or Dread Barrage, which is like Guild War Light, except there's no competitions. Now then, what this means is that this choice that we get in Seeds of Redemption is for the only one of these 10 characters that we will get on this account for the rest of its lifespan. And another thing to keep in mind, these characters can be uncapped a lot. We can't do that, because that also requires that you get Revenant weapons, which are event limited. So we're going to have to use them at level 80 max. So let's go into this. Right away, I can discount some things. We don't want to get 6 because we already have a version of him, and we can't field both of them. The version of him that we have, I think, is widely seen as inferior to this one, and that's probably true. But it's good enough, and we don't want to double dip and then then have a useless character. We can also say we don't want to get either of the wind ones because our wind team is pretty strong and is able to kind of handle stuff without any real effort compared to the other elements. I'd say we also probably don't want to go with light because our light, it's not as good, but we do have a light squad that is functional. It's a little bit tougher on that, but the two light ones here are, I would probably say, the two of the worst ones to pick, just because. So I think if you're gonna pick one, you pick her. I'm trying not to say the names here, and I'm trying not to auto-translate them in my head to the Japanese names because they're different for no apparent reason. Anyway, so the biggest thing for her is that if you get a charge attack off and then use her third skill, you can land Paralyze, and Paralyze is really strong. But it's not usable. It doesn't. Basically, every boss past the standard raid tab is immune to Paralyze. And if you can't use Paralyze, she's not as good. Now, don't get me wrong. This debuff skill is fine, but we can apply a bunch of debuffs anyway. And this one is mostly just a healer. She's got a single target buff that's interesting, right? It's 16 turn duration with 16 turn cooldown with a 15 turn duration. So that's pretty cool. However, the rest of the kit doesn't really do anything, and it's again. A lot of this stuff can be handled by the characters that we already have. Like, remove debuffs from allies, Johan can already do that. So we don't really need that kind of utility. Alright. So, discounting that we don't need to make our wind better. The light characters aren't really the best. I could see picking this one. I wouldn't. I probably won't. I definitely won't. Because there are two other elements that really need some help. Alright, so our bad elements are water and earth. The character pool in water and earth are both... The character pools are both extremely shallow. So playing as water or earth feels like suffering. Alright, so let's look at these characters kind of in depth. We have the number one up here. It's this Harbin guy. So let's take a look. So first skill is basically overdrive surge that the main character has. That's okay. Then we have substitute, dodge and counter, but doesn't give us extra dodge rate, so that's not very useful. And the thing that is useful is the 100% damage cut. However, if we need 100% damage cut, or approaching 100% damage cut, we can kind of already do that. So yeah, I would actually say he doesn't really bring anything to the table. And you gotta remember, when I'm talking about these characters, I'm talking about them in the context of this account, where they will never get stronger past their level 80 forms. For a regular account that's going to play events and do gacha, pick whatever you want, because you'll have the option to improve on it later, and you'll have the option to recruit all of them later. It'll take time, but it's time that in some cases is well spent, in some cases it feels like a waste of time, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Alright, so let's go over here, number 4 down. Okay, instantly I look and I see something interesting. The charge attack has delay. So when you charge attack, it can cause the opponent's charge diamonds to be decreased. That's great. It is. Alright. Then we look and see inflicts a random debuff. We can kind of already do debuffs. It's not a big deal. Increases charge diamonds. We can also kind of do gravity, so that's not that big a deal. Extend allies' buff durations. So any buffs that have a duration more than 1 turn get extended. That's good, but is it that good? Because a lot of the buffs that we're currently using, the important ones really are the Relic Buster shields, and those are pretty much permanent. The armored effect on it would be what's extended, and I don't know. I'm not impressed. Like, the charge attack is pretty good, but I'm not impressed with the rest of it. Alright. Oh, I should also say, our fire team is in a passable state. It's not as good as wind, but it's not as good as wind, and it's not as good as dark. I'd say it's probably somewhere near the level of light. Like, those two teams are kind of similar in power level. I'd probably give the edge to fire, actually. So we don't really need to improve on fire. It feels like our team is less good right now, but once we get Noish uncapped to level 90, he'll feel like a pretty useful unit. Alright, so let's go look at Earth. So, third one from the top. Okay, so this character has a weapon swap gimmick. You'll see when they charge attack, they swap weapons and get the alternate skill set. So, has 3 skills. One is Jammed, which is increased attack when your HP is lower, and gives you some health, gives you Drain, which is some healing. Dodge / tank and counter. So if you take hits, you will counter. It's not terrible. It's not great, because there's no real method of gaining hostility. Sacrifice HP to deal plane damage to all foes and gain a shield. This is pretty good. The reason it's pretty good is because it's plane damage. Now, there are enemies where plane damage is very useful. If we look at Arcarum and we see the Cantankerous Leopard, you know exactly what I mean. Because plane damage does not get reflected off of that shield. Plane damage it completely ignores defense. Now, the amount of plane damage that gets dealt is, I'm not going to go into the actual calculation, but in terms of raid HP, it's not that much. It will be more than like Lelouch's Black Chessmaster once you get a high enough HP total. But it's not the best in terms of dealing damage to a raid, but it's really good at getting your HP low if you need to activate, say, your jammed effect. Alright, so when we do a charge attack, we swap over to this other skill set. So, the Vorpal Rage no longer has the Drain, instead it has an Amplify damage. So damage, you deal extra damage. Instead of countering, Berserk Forge now gives you a free no-turn attack, and Ground Zero is the same. And also, when you do charge attack again, you get some extra flame damage. Support skill is excellent, by the way. 3 times it, you just a straight up free stack of guts. So that's pretty. That the support skill is alone is pretty excellent. And yeah, I think there's something in this kit that might be worthwhile. And then we look at this one. Okay. So, charge attack, instant death, this never hits. So don't expect this to do anything. When it does hit, it's on enemies that it doesn't matter. And it gives you a boosted triple attack rate. That's pretty good. Alright. Second skill, boost to attack and critical rate. It costs 10% bar. That's not great. Distribute charge bar to allies. Consumes 30% of bar. And drain a diamond and transferred bar. So it's all charge attacks all the time, basically. And I can tell you that is the case. And if I were to be choosing a character, one of these that could be uncapped to level 100, I would probably pick him, no question. Because our Earth team needs help, and he was very good at kind of helping carry a team that's slightly weak in the stage of the game that we're going to be going into. However, we don't have him at level 100. We have him at level 80, which means he's a lot less good. Now, the boosted charge bar that he gets, I should mention, it is a, if I remember correctly, it is a 100% boosted charge bar gain, so he does gain bar extremely quickly. Especially when you consider that the triple attack, that his charge attack gives him a big triple attack bonus, he can refill relatively quickly. My biggest problem is just that I don't know that he's going to be strong enough to really kind of carry the team with just damage. Basically, like, he's got a gravity, essentially, and that's it. Or not gravity, delay, and that's it. Like, no defensive utilities or, like, burst offense. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning toward getting this one. Now, the only problem, like, either one I pick, they're both drafts, so they're not going to be affected by my current Bahamut weapon, which kind of sucks, but we'll make do up until we can get another Bahamut weapon at some point, but we only get one of these, and I gotta say, I'm gonna go here. And there's also a sneaky secondary reason, and that's that if we ever need to do sliming or anything, she's very good at that. Alright, so we got that. I just wanted to go over the rewards for Seeds of Redemption real quick, because I had to go through it. As far as again, it's the 6th anniversary event. As far as the event goes, it's largely not that interesting. That's my personal opinion. If you want to form your own opinion, feel free to go through it. It's ultimately not that hard, but there's some stuff in there are some things that are, you know, okay in there, but you kind of have to struggle through the long story of it up in front of it before you get there. All right, well, I'm gonna call it here. Just wanted to go through this real quick so that when one of these Eternal characters showed up in our parties at some point, nobody was confused. Alright, thanks for watching. This has been Shadow SP, signing out.